going back to what I said as well, I was that guy. Nothing was my fault. Not taking any responsibility. Anything happened, it was never my fault. We got kicked off the Watergate agency, not my fault. We got kicked off another agency, not my fault. You know, promoter didn't book us, not my fault. Why are we not getting this? You know, always passing the blame. And at this point as well, when it started getting bad, then started trying to blame other things. You know, maybe it was my time in Afghanistan. Maybe it was my upbringing. Have I got ADHD? You know, all the classic things. And yeah, I tried. As it got worse and worse, people started to suggest, you know, things like AA, Alcoholics Anonymous, and CA, Cocaine Anonymous. And I ended up getting a lot of therapy through the RAF Benevolent Fund, which is like a charity for RAF veterans. And they give me a lot of therapy. But again, none of it was working because I wasn't taking responsibility for my actions. And that's pretty much how it happened until COVID, when everything stopped. And I was like, whoa, that was the first time in years that I'd just been able to take a step back and think, I'm not in a good place here. I was basically sleeping in my studio in Berlin because I kept getting kicked out of all these places in Berlin. It's really difficult to get a permanent place in Berlin, especially as you know, as a foreigner who isn't really registered, who doesn't really, you know, have anything to show for how long I've been there for. So everything stopped, and I had to take a step back and think, wow, like I've got nothing here. I'm like in a really bad way with drugs and alcohol. Career isn't really going anywhere. Me and my brother were falling out, and that, because that broke the cycle, it gave me an opportunity to start doing the work that was necessary. Like at this point now, I couldn't blame anyone else for myself because there was no gigs, there was no parties, and I started the process of what I now call the foundations. But what we first started doing was fasting. I knew a guy and he introduced me to intermittent fasting, and I'd never heard about it. You know, when I was PTing, fasting was not a thing, but he was in great shape. He was a bit older than me and he looked super healthy. I was like, okay, let me give this a go because it was free. And then with my ex-partner at the time, I started running with her. She was like, give it a go. I don't know. I always say this, but I don't know how relevant it is because I don't know if anyone watches the Peep Show, right? But there's a scene in that,
Peep Show.
yeah, and it's Mark, and he goes for a run with this girl, Suze. Is it Suze? Anyway, and he's like, yeah, I'm really good at this. I absolutely love it. And then 3 minutes down the road, he's like, oh no, I'm absolutely fucked, and he's like coughing up. And that's what I always envisioned that first run was. I was like, no way, this is not for me. I've not done any exercise in years. I was like smoking and doing gear, you know, virtually every day, apart from when I was recovering.